Hi, this is Diane Lovetobake on YouTube, and what we're going to make are cookies, but we're going to make a chocolate cookie that almost resembles like a chocolate truffle. They are simple to make, they are great tasting cookies, and if anybody watches my videos, you know I like very quick, easy recipes, but I want them to be good tasting recipes as well, and this is one of them. And what I also like about it is that if you have persons that can't eat eggs, this is a great cookie for them as well. So let's get started. Now I no longer put the recipe ingredients below the video, and I'm sorry about that, but I'll explain later. Always, if you watch me on YouTube, well, you're gonna, if you write to me or whatever, I will answer you, and I'll explain that in a little bit, but let's get on with our baking. You're gonna start off with two sticks, meaning 1 cup of butter. Okay, I've cut it up into small pieces because I think it's a lot easier to cream that way, and it saves time, especially for the video. Okay, and I'm just gotta grab my spatula that I forgot to put out. And you want to cream it, and now if you want to make this recipe with your hand mixer, feel free. I like to use my stand because, again, it's much quicker for the video. I'm going to warn you about the sound ahead of time when the mixer goes on, in case you want to turn down your sound, okay? Now, once you break that up and start to cream it, you're going to be putting in sugar, and you're going to need 3/4 of a cup of sugar. Okay, now if you're so inclined and you'd like to take the recipe down, let me just repeat it again. So far what I've done is I put in 2 sticks, meaning 1 cup of butter in. Okay, and now I'm going to put in 3/4 of a cup of granulated sugar, a little at a time, and warn you about the sound. Now spend your time on this. Spend 2 to 3 minutes creaming that sugar, creaming that butter together. I'm moving it along due to the video. The next thing you're going to be putting in is a teaspoon of vanilla, and beat that in. Now normally I wouldn't use it that high of a speed because this is when I really combine another 2 minutes. So I sort of beat everything for about 5 minutes. So it's well combined, well incorporated, and very creamy. And also you want, like a pale yellow color. All right, I'm just gonna clean the sides of my bowl here where it tends to stick, and then turn it on for another moment. Remember about the sound. Okay, now let's talk about the dry ingredients. You're going to need 2 cups of all-purpose flour. You're going to need 1/4 cup of unsweetened baking cocoa. That's not, of course, the cocoa hot chocolate drink mix or anything like that. You do need the unsweetened baking cocoa, and that is 1/4 cup. And then just with my little whisk here, I'm just stirring it together. It doesn't have to be mixed completely, but well enough that it's combined. The last thing that you're going to be putting in is salt. Put 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Now, I prefer to use the unsalted butter for this recipe. Yet I have made it with salted butter, and I really never got any, complaints. And when I asked folks when they tasted it, did they see any difference or taste any difference? And there really wasn't any problem with it. But I tend to use unsalted butter when I use it, okay? And if you're really in doubt and you have only salted butter, just leave the salt out or cut it in half, put only 1/8 teaspoon in if you're, undecided. And now we're going to just start slowly combining the dry with the wet. And again, you're going to do it at a slower speed so that this doesn't go all over your kitchen and you. And again, I'm going to move it along because of the video, so I'm going to warn you about the sound. Turn that off for a second, because this is the part that some people will probably say, oh, I think I did something wrong. There should be more moisture in this cookie dough. No, what you're going to do is you're going to beat it till it all comes together. That, in other words, if you put it in your hands, you could form a ball. What I find is that the more that I run the mixer, bringing it together and then bringing it on high speed, it brings the cookie dough right together. It really does. And I like to put a towel over this because in the process, again, nothing goes around the kitchen. And again, I'm going to remind you about the sound because I am going to turn it up, okay? Now I want to just show you something, what I'm talking about. You can start to see, even though it's very crumbly, it's starting to come together in the palm of my hand, okay? So I'm just going to turn that up. And then before you know it, from the dry, crumbly cookie dough that you thought you made a mistake, you find out you didn't make a mistake. And it just starts to form right in your bowl. Okay? I just want to get the rest of this here, and then I'll work it in with my hands. Okay, and you will find it will just be a nice round cookie ball like this. It is a little bit sticky, and then wrap that in your clear wrap or a plastic bag or wax paper or whatever you want to wrap it in, and it should be refrigerated and chilled for at least an hour, because otherwise it's just too sticky and too difficult to work with. Okay, so again, at least give it an hour. Now, if you want to put it in your freezer, and that will chill it faster, but don't do what I do sometimes. I forget that I put it in there and I froze it. Oh, and by the way, this is a great cookie dough that you can freeze. And then you can actually make them into logs and then slice, you know, like the frozen slice cookies that you buy in the grocery store. So I'm going to put that aside and get that wrapped in a little bit and chilled. I'm going to quickly just rinse my hands here. Now, you're going to, after that hour is up, what you're going to do is you're going to need, of course, a cookie pan or cookie sheet. Now, I want to show you, I have one, part of the cookie dough that has been chilled, and it'll look like this, okay? Now, what you'll want to do is either break off, or with a spoon, you can do a 1-inch ball and just roll it in your hands like that. And they don't spread too much, so you can put them, you know, about a 1/2 inch, you know, if you really want to get a lot baked at one time. But I find, instead of it being completely round, I use my very small little scoop, and I just fill that. It'll have a flat bottom, but it doesn't bother me. And then when it comes out, again, I've got that perfectly shaped dome, okay? And that's what I like to do. But like I said, use a spoon, carve it out, roll it if you prefer, 1-inch balls, or try the small scooper as I did. I find, to me, I prefer to do it that way. Now, you're going to bake these at a low temperature at 325, and you know our oven's set up so differently. So you know, you do want to watch these. You don't want to dry them out so that, well, they're going to be crumbly and you're not going to enjoy the cookie. But they can take anywhere from 20 to 25 minutes. So I actually start watching mine at about 17 minutes or so. Now, once they come out of the oven, what you're looking for is just that they're firm. Not hard, but they're firm when they come out of the oven. And put them on a cooling rack. Now, once you do that, okay, when you bake them up, you're going to need some extra of the unsweetened baking cocoa in a bowl or a cup, okay? And when they bake up, they will look like this. Now, if you do it in the round ball, of course, you won't have these little crevices on the top. It'll be smooth. But again, it doesn't bother me. I tend to like to do it that way. Now, what you want to do next, though, right before you serve them, just roll them in your unsweetened baking cocoa. And be generous about it. And then the cookie will come out and look like this, okay? So, let me cut one that hasn't been rolled in cocoa in half, so that you can see what the cookie is like, okay? It will have a hard surface on the outside. When you cut into it, though, it will have a semi-moist center to it, okay? They're not a dense cookie. I would say they're medium dense, but they have a slight chew to them. But they are really absolutely delicious cookies. And once you roll them in the unsweetened cocoa, oh, that added chocolate is just a great tasting cookie. Well, if you try this recipe and you like it, leave a comment, because I like to hear from you. And again, I want to remind you to solely watch me on YouTube. That's the only place that I put my videos on. So if you have seen them somewhere else where they've been posted or pinned, or people, and I'm not alone on it, that's for sure, have taken my work, and claimed it as theirs, well, that's one of the reasons I'm sorry I don't put the recipe below the video anymore, because it's not worth it anymore. But I do get upset when I see my work on other sites where you have written me or asked a question and I can't answer you. So it's really frustrated. So please, if you're going to watch or you're going to write or have a question, I will answer in a timely fashion. But please watch me on YouTube, because that's the only place that I put my videos on. Anywhere else, that is not me doing it. It's somebody else. So, and again, like I said, I'm not alone on that. So try this little recipe. If you like the cookies, again, let me hear from you, okay? So, as always, I want to thank you for watching Diane Lovetobake on YouTube. Stay well, stay safe, and I'll see you soon.